Hey, Sam, you know what I like best about Tears of the Kingdom?
What's that?
How they literally do a somehow Ganondorf returned.
Oh my god, no kidding. I can't believe that cutscene. Like, it got to me.
I mean, I know they call him the Demon King, but we're all thinking, that's a Ganondorf. And it happens instantly, like minute 5. Oh, you thought you made all this progress in Breath of the Wild? Oh, you thought you saved the world? Well, guess what, nerd? We had a second Ganondorf this whole time.
Hooray, we saved the day. Let's go see what's in the basement. Oh no!
Oh no! I think the beginning to this game was one of the most needless and miserable introductions to a Zelda game ever, which is saying something given that most Zelda games start with a chicken hunt.
Let's be real though, we all knew it was going to be awkward. We all booted up the game, dropped into that cave, looked at Link with a full stack of heart containers and the Master Sword and a complete stamina wheel and went, "You're not gonna let me keep any of that."
Oh yeah, no way.
Seeing all those hearts up there was like watching Kramer trying to install that air conditioner. You're just watching like, oh god, how's it gonna happen?
Installed.
I know what's gonna happen, but how's it gonna happen? And then, sure enough, 5 minutes later,
The air conditioner!
Right, they could have just skipped the formalities and it would have had the same effect. It's like when the romantic leads get together at the end of the first movie and then by the time we get to the second, they've broken up dramatically and off-screen. Nintendo might as well have had Link start out with 3 hearts, no Master Sword, no Zelda, and a single stamina wheel, looked straight at us and said, "You know, a lot's happened. A lot's happened since we've last seen each other." I kind of can't believe this was how they decided to handle the inevitable awkwardness of being a sequel.
Yeah, I mean, it's silly and it's fun to clown on, and don't get me wrong, I will continue to do so, but, like, what were they supposed to do? They couldn't let us start at the end. They needed us to, like, re-earn the heart containers and the Master Sword and the stamina wheel. They had to acknowledge that Link did get all those fun upgrades and toys, but they couldn't let us keep any of it. It's like the Kobayashi Maru.
Is that a Zelda boss?
God, Sam, have you never watched Star Trek: The Kobayashi Maru?
Star Trek.
Oh, God. Okay. In Star Trek, there's this test called the Kobayashi Maru. It's a test they give to people who want to be starship captains. They put the captain in a situation where they have to rescue a starship in distress and terrible shit starts happening all around them and the captain has to decide what to do. And the thing about this test is that it is literally impossible to pass.
Oh wait, I know about this thing. What the f does this have to do with Tears of the Kingdom?
Well, no matter what you do, you're f***ed. The question is, what kind of f***ed are you? The idea is if everyone fails, then we can learn a lot about someone by looking at how they fail. The Tears of the Kingdom team was in an impossible situation because they had to make a sequel to Breath of the Wild, and they had a fan base where a huge contingent of people were like, just more Breath of the Wild, please. And an equally huge contingent was like, nah, just more Breath of the Wild, please. A ton of people wanted a direct sequel, and a ton of people wanted a spiritual sequel. So Tears of the Kingdom was bound to fail as a sequel, but I think we can learn a lot about Tears of the Kingdom by looking at how it failed.
And I think they should have failed differently.
Fair enough.
Because, yeah, just like with every other Zelda sequel, their 2 options were more Breath of the Wild or not more Breath of the Wild. But with Tears of the Kingdom, it ends up feeling like they did both, but in the weirdest way.
But like, doesn't that apply to every Zelda game? Every Zelda game is a sequel and every Zelda game is not a sequel. Like, doing both in a weird way is the entire legacy of the franchise. Like, let's say you're me, you're almost 7, you've been playing the hell out of The Legend of Zelda, and you're starting to feel like you're good at it. And then a new one comes out. Zelda 2. It's Zelda with a 2. It's the second one. Same gold cartridge, the only 2 you've ever seen. Look at how Zelda this is. Nothing will ever feel as Zelda to you as a gold cartridge. And you blow on it, because of course you do, and you plug it into your NES, and Koji Kondo starts making that little sound chip do magic, and you are promised Link's most adventuresome quest yet. And you press start, register your name. What the fuck is that? The first attempt at a Zelda sequel made The Legend of Zelda a side-scrolling action platformer. And then A Link to the Past felt like Zelda, like someone at Nintendo had said, wait, should a sequel maybe be vaguely similar to the other games in the series? And the answer was, no, f*** you, Ocarina of Time, we're 3D now, baby. You like that? Too bad, now you're a cartoon baby and someone stole the ground. Comfortable? F*** you, have a goth wolf. You like that? You like having the ground back? Are you enjoying those feet, all 4 of them? Well, tough shit, here's a bird, we're stealing the ground again. The Zelda games have always had to navigate the impossible quagmire of sequel or not sequel, and it's always turned out weird. Hell, they even pulled a somehow Ganondorf returned inside of the first game. Before Zelda 2, there was Link's second quest in the original Legend of Zelda. You beat Ganon, you save Zelda, the credits roll, and then if you reload your game, there you are, flat on your ass at the bottom of the stairs, 3 hearts, no sword, no Zelda, no nothing. Somehow Ganondorf returned. Probably you haven't even turned your Nintendo off before Zelda's captured again.
Right, yeah, okay, and all of that is super inspirational and cool and yeah, trying new things and stuff, but that's not really what I'm talking about when I say Tears of the Kingdom handles being a sequel weird. I'm not bothered by the cars.
Yes, you are.
Okay, yes I am, but that's not what I'm describing right now. I'm not describing how hard of a sell it is to build sequels that diverge from their predecessors. Like you said, that's just as much a part of the Zelda canon as the Master Sword and Green Elf hats. But I think the jank in Tears of the Kingdom didn't come from, oops, we're going over here now. It came from, oops, we're staying where we are. Usually, if a Zelda game wants to be a direct sequel, they'll make Link trip into a hole in the forest and now he's in Termina where the moon is angry. Or now he's in Phantom Hourglass exploring some new islands because this squid man is infecting the Temple of the Ocean King. Same Link, new adventure, it's trains now, try to keep up. It somehow feels more exhausting when it's the same Link saving the same world and the same Zelda. Like, it doesn't feel new, it feels again. Look, sequels are hard. And there are a lot of correct answers. Like, okay, you can be not Breath of the Wild, and that's fine. You can be Breath of the Wild 2, and that's also fine. Mechanically, it does a fine job of balancing both of those goals. I would say it's the best of both worlds, but narratively? Narratively, it's the worst of both worlds. Narratively, it's Breath of the Wild again, but I'm gonna pretend that I'm not. So it ends up being Breath of the Wild with a mustache on. Hey kid, not Ganon is back. I'm not the King of Hyrule. Hey, Zelda got kidnapped, so go get these light balls. Go to the shrines. Nope, they're different shrines. See the statue at the end? It's got a goat in it now. Go get some light balls in ya and fix that darkness right up. Like, I know Link doesn't talk. I get that he's a video game character with no greater desire than to perform the animation associated with the button we just pressed. But I also kind of can't believe he doesn't just stand up and shout, "Oh Lord, I just did this. Y'all got more shrines?" I'm just side-eyeing him like, buddy, do you want a glass of water first? Zelda is kidnapped again? Like, really? Like, fucking instantly?
Like, do we know how long it's been at that point since Breath of the Wild?
4 hours! At that point, as far as we know, it has been 4 hours since we defeated Calamity Ganon. And the narrative has the audacity to look Link in the face and pretend that all of this is a new concept.
Right, but we also couldn't just have Link gallivanting around a saved Hyrule with 60 squillion hearts and no Ganon and no shrines and nothing to do but make out with Zelda. That's not a Zelda game, it's a pointy-eared blonde boinking simulator. So what do we do? Do we undo Breath of the Wild? Do we have a new Hyrule? Do we start from scratch, completely new mechanics? Like, how different is different enough? Do we add a new villain? Or do we just have the Goat Man talk to Link about all this as if it's a huge drag? Hey man, super sorry about this. And you just saved the world. What a bummer. Anyway, go get the Master Sword again. Super sorry, bro. Probably won't happen again, lol. Would that be better?
Don't get me wrong. I totally agree that the devs were in a really difficult situation. That intro needed to pay homage to the fact that within the canon of the game and within the players' minds, Link is a big important hero who already got really strong and already saved the world, like, yesterday. or Tuesday, or whenever that was. But equally, the game needed to start being a game, and a Zelda game at that. Like, now. But I think they could have balanced these needs without giving us an intro that felt like lip service. It feels clumsy and rushed and contrived. Could they not have done a Symphony of the Night where they let you play around with those upgrades in a more substantive way than jumping up and down in a small cave and fighting 2 bats? And maybe then take them away? Well, no, because then traversal would have been really annoying since you'd already be used to having a fully kitted out stamina wheel. But maybe could they have built out a little bit of story that led up over the course of an hour or 2 to Zelda being kidnapped and non-Ganon somehow has returned-ing?
I mean, maybe. But they wanted to hook people with a big, cool cinematic, a new-ish villain, some motivation in the form of the only way we know how to motivate Link, apparently, and a super cool new area to show off how not Breath of the Wild we are.
I do like Pumpkin Spice Skyland Tutorial Zone, but they could have had it all, Josh. Going back to all those old Zelda games, they already had a baked-in solution.
Is it Gothwolf?
Yes. No, they already have the Zelda timeline. That super convoluted Zelda timeline. If the Zelda sequels have prepped us for anything, it's retcons. This is not Ganon, this is not Zelda, this is not Link. It all looks familiar, but it's a reroll. That's why it's not weird that he's done this over and over and over again. That's why he never takes a breather, never gets stronger. This Link? This is the first time his Zelda has been kidnapped. This is the first time he's seeing these shrines. This is a mythic journey that has played out across the ages, across generations. And that's also why it's so satisfying to watch Link, a little nobody, go through the hero's journey from start to finish, because it maps to what the player is experiencing. And we, the players, still get the excitement of seeing old characters and places again. The Legend of Zelda, multiversing before multiverses were cool.
Multiverses are so hot right now. So hot right now.
In Zelda sequel logic,
So hot.
this still could have been a sequel mechanically, and it clearly had no interest in being a sequel narratively. So just make them a different Zelda and Link. Make this the timeline where Breath of the Wild's Link failed or something. I don't know. Have him wake up in the exact same pool we woke up in Breath of the Wild, but this time,
Spoilers?
there's all these contraptions lying around,
Spoilers.
and there's a bunch of floating islands in the sky. That's not a spoiler. It's different enough because it's a different world, but it's the same enough because it's cut from the same cloth. Just a different little fork in the timeline. What this series has always done best.
Yeah, okay. This does connect to something that bothered me about Tears of the Kingdom. Like, it feels weird that you just have to keep proving yourself to the same world and these same people over and over again. In Breath of the Wild, just like in Ocarina of Time or Wind Waker or Twilight Princess, Link wakes up to chaos, an absolute nobody, and he has to prove himself to a world of people who have no reason to know or trust him. He has to become the legendary swordsman, fated to wield the blade that drives away darkness, and everyone who meets him is a potential obstacle. You're just a kid, or you're just a weirdo who talks to boats, or you're just a wolf who escaped from Hot Topic. And then you have to be like, well, yeah, but also, I am the hero of time. They have no reason to trust you. But in Tears of the Kingdom, it feels weird, because you've already proved yourself to this world. The NPCs treat you the same way, as if you were just some guy.
Right, and even when a sequel uses the same canonical Link, he at least goes to a different realm. It makes sense that these guys don't know who he is. They're in a forest hole. They look the same, but they're different guys. Tears of the Kingdom wants to have it both ways. They want to be a sequel to the game in which everyone knows who you are already, because you are the guy who just saved the world last week, but they also want to keep using NPCs to gatekeep your movement and force new quests. So they manage those conflicting needs by really not managing them at all.
Right. There are several encounters early on where you meet people who do know who you are, but also don't. Like, they'll be talking about Link, and you run up and say hi, and they're like, oh, how peculiar. You have the same name as that legendary swordsman. Like, you get to Gerudo Town and they've got their little no boys allowed sign up and somebody's drawn Link accepted underneath in Sharpie, but they won't just let you in. You still have to sneak in. And then they're like, oh, Link, it's you. You're cool. Link spends the whole game being both the legendary hero who saved the world and some dingus that nobody feels they need to listen to. There's a store in Kakariko Village where they sell armor at an absurd markup because the vendor's granny has the Ganon flu. And I kept thinking, like, shouldn't you maybe give a discount to Hyrule's only known Ganon killer? Nope, I won't sell you the armor till you cook up some magic flour oatmeal for Meemaw.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Mechanically, it's all fine. Mechanically, sure, I'll sneak into Gerudo Village. I've done it before. I'll do it again. Narratively, why do I need to do that? Some of these fixes are as simple as changing the text in a text box. Or just making this not the same Link and not the same world so it's not weird when the whole game is you doing the exact same stuff that you've already done. I'm not saying everyone needs to run up to Link asking for his autograph. Some NPCs are way excited to see the legendary swordsman right before their eyes. And a lot of folks online seem to agree that it would be kind of annoying, honestly, if everyone did it. So it's potentially weird in both directions. It's mostly an issue when it feels like it's used as a clumsy narrative excuse.
You want to know the worst example? The ring ruins in Kakariko Village.
I didn't get that far, but I feel like you've told me this story before.
I like to complain about it. So, like in pretty much every Zelda game since Link to the Past, the first place you go after the opening sequence is Kakariko Village. And in Tears of the Kingdom, you get there and there's this enormous ring floating up above the village. So obviously you want to check it out.
Sure, little mini halo up there. I'm curious.
So you go over to climb up and there's this little archaeology professor dude who's like, nah, Zelda said nobody's allowed up there. You can't go up there. And he says with just about as much disgust as he can rustle up, if it's off limits to an archaeologist like me, it certainly applies to an amateur like you.
Ugh, boo.
And I just want Link to do one of his expansive gestures that communicates whole sentences and say like, hi, I am Link, hero of Hyrule and legendary swordsman. This is the Master Sword, the Sword of Evil's Bane, and about 4 hours ago I used it to slay the 4 blights, liberate the divine beasts, drive back the malice, defeat the great king of evil, rescue Zelda from 100 years of endless battle, and free the kingdom of Hyrule from a century of Ganon's tyranny. I'm gonna go in there now.
Right, if anyone should go up there, I am that person. You know who I am. Let me go do the thing that I do. Why are you listening to Zelda but not me? Did you not see us in the cutscene together? We're buddies.
But Link just doesn't go in. This nerd just says, I think it's probably not safe for the villagers, and Link just is a villager now, agrees with them, respects his archaeology degree. Link will happily walk into your house and break every pot you own and steal your valuables, but looking at a ruin without permission? No way. And it seems like such a good time and an obvious opportunity to like build a silly little contraption to shoot yourself up there, but the game just won't let you.
I'm not sure that there is ever a good time to build a contraption in Tears of the Kingdom.
Man, you really do not like the building mechanic.
You know I don't like the cars, or the planes, or the sailboats, or the flamethrowers. You know that I tried, and I just can't, and a weird amount of it is because of this green gloop.
The green gloop.
Can you give me a second to collect my thoughts, and I will totally explain?
Absolutely, I'll go make some popcorn.